Gairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam. Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Punam Vas Vadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Padam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Nam Nam Kari Babhudanija Sarvasaktis Tatra Pitar Pitar Nyamita Smarane Nakala. Tajsi Tabakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivan Risi Samihajini Nanuraga. Shinadapi Sunichena Tarurapi Saisnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahadi. Manina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavata Bhakti Rahetuki. Ayinandatanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dridisa drisam vichintaya. Nayanam Galadas Rudaya Daraya Vadanam Gadyada Rudaya Jira Kulakaya Nisitam Vapu Kada Tavanama Grahani Bhavishyati. Yugayitam nimesena chaksusa pavrisayitam sunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Aslishya vapadaratam kinastrumam Adasaranam amatam karotuva Yata tata vidadatu lampato Matvananatastu saeva napara. Chaitanya Siksastakam ki jai. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large. Is it on? Okay. Because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon, it is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in a world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord. Unconditionally, Shri Chaitanya Siksastakam ki jai. That's all right. Keep, I'm sorry, this. Yesterday, we were finishing up the story of Harivilas Thakur. And after 3 days of chanting Hare Krishna, the young girl surrendered to Harivilas Thakur and said, please act as my spiritual master, instruct me in my duty by which I can get relief from material existence. Harivilas Thakur replied, immediately go home and distribute to the brahmanas whatever property you have, then come back to this room and stay here forever in Krishna consciousness. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra continuously and render service to the tulsi plant by watering her, and offer prayers to her. In this way you will very soon get the opportunity to be sheltered at the lotus feet of Krishna. At least 5,000 years ago, Lord Shri Krishna expressed his desire that everyone surrender to him. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam saranam vraja. Why is it that people cannot do that? Krishna assures, aham tvam sarvapapabhyo moksisyami mahasucha. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Everyone is suffering from the results of sinful activities. But Krishna says that if one surrenders unto him, he will protect one from sinful reactions. Modern civilization, however, is interested neither in Krishna nor in getting relief from sinful acts. What for men are suffering? Surrender is the ultimate instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, but for one who cannot surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna, it is better to chant the Hare Krishna mantra constantly under the instruction of Harivilas Thakur. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we are teaching our followers to chant the Hare Krishna mantra continuously on beads. Even those who are not accustomed to this practice are advised to chant at least 16 rounds on the beads so that they may be trained. Otherwise, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended, Trinadapi Sunichena Tararapi Saistana Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Sada means always. Harivilas says, Nirantara Namo Lao. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra without stopping. Although Krishna wants everyone to surrender to his lotus feet, because of people's sinful activities, they cannot do this. I wonder one thing. Harivilas says, Nirantara Nama Lao. That's Hindi, right? Lao is Hindi. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Nevertheless, if they begin chanting Hare Krishna mantra and rendering service unto the Tulsi plant, they will very soon be able to surrender. One's real duty is to surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna. But if one is unable to do so, he should adopt this process as introduced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his most confidential servant, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. This is the way to achieve success in Krishna consciousness. After thus instructing the girl about mantra, Haridas Thakur stood up and left, continuously chanting Hari Hari. Thereafter, the girl distributed to the brahmanas whatever household possessions she had, following the order of her spiritual master. Purport. Sometimes the word griha vritti is substituted for the word griha vita, meaning profession. Avritti means profession. The griha vritti of the young girl was to enchant foolish people and induce them to indulge in illicit sex life. Here, however, griha vritti is not a suitable word. The proper word is griha vita, which means all the possessions she had in her home. All the girl's possessions had been earned by professional prostitution and were therefore products of her sinful life. When such possessions are given to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who can engage them in the service of the Lord because of their advancement in spiritual life, this indirectly helps the person who gives the charity, for he or she is thus relieved of sinful reactions. Now, the interesting point here is, if that money is not used in Krishna's service, but the person, the so-called Brahmana, takes the money and uses it for his own purpose, get his daughter married or buy a new house for his family or something, then he gets the full reaction that goes, a sinful reaction that goes along with the money. So the understanding is that a genuine Brahmin would never use that money for their own purpose. They would use it in the service of Krishna. But even if they use 1 penny for themselves, they get the full effect of the sinful reaction. When such possessions are given to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who can engage them in the service of the Lord because of their advancement in spiritual life, this indirectly helps the person who gives the charity, for he is thus relieved of sinful reactions. So the second benefit is that the person who gave it and earned that money illegally or in doing illicit activities or sinful activities, they are benefited spiritually because the money was used in service of Krishna. As Krishna promises, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami mahasucha, I shall save you from all sinful reactions. When our Krishna conscious devotees go out to beg charity or collect contributions in the form of membership fees, the money thus coming to the Krishna consciousness movement is strictly employed to advance Krishna consciousness all over the world. The Krishna conscious devotees collect the money of others for the service of Krishna, and they are satisfied with Krishna's prasadam and whatever he gives them for their maintenance. They do not desire material comforts. However, they go to great pains to engage the possessions of persons who are more or less like prostitutes in the service of the Lord, and thus free them from sinful reactions. A Vaishnava guru accepts money or other contributions, but he does not employ such contributions for sense gratification. A pure Vaishnava thinks himself unfit to help free even one person from the reactions of sinful life, but he engages one's hard-earned money in the service of the Lord, and thus frees one from sinful reactions. A Vaishnava guru is never dependent on the contributions of his disciples. Following the instructions of Harivilas, a pure Vaishnava does not personally take even a single paisa from anyone, but he induces his followers to spend for the service of the Lord whatever possessions they have. So if one does take a single paisa for themselves, then they get the sinful reactions on their account. And many people in the past have fallen down because of doing this, where they take the money and don't use it in Krishna service and misrepresent. The prostitute shaved her head clean in accordance with Vaishnava principles and stayed in that room wearing only one cloth, following in the footsteps of her spiritual master. She began chanting the holy names of Krishna 300,000 times a day. She chanted throughout the entire day and night. Pretty serious. She worshipped the tulsi plant, following in the footsteps of her spiritual master. Instead of eating regularly, she chewed whatever food she received as alms. And if nothing was supplied, she would fast. Thus, by eating frugally and fasting, she conquered her senses, and as soon as her senses were controlled, symptoms of love of Godhead appeared in her person. Thus, the girl became a celebrated devotee, and she became very advanced in spiritual life, and many stalwart Vaishnavas would come to see her. Stalwart, highly advanced Vaishnava devotees are not interested in seeing women of ill repute, but when a person or any other fallen soul becomes a Vaishnava, stalwart principles. A devotee who follows these principles is no longer on the material platform. Therefore, to the principles that should be considered, not the country of one's birth. Many devotees join our Krishna consciousness movement from Europe and America, but one should not therefore consider them European Vaishnavas or American Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava is a Vaishnava and should therefore be given all the respect due a Vaishnava. So, this is the therefore, when the Vaishnava sees a person, they can be good or bad, they can be white or black, they can be whatever. He sees that this person is related to Krishna. Originally, we all come from Krishna. Krishna says that he is the father of all living entities. He says in the 14th chapter, Sarvayoni Sikonteya, Murtaya Sambhavanticha, Ya Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bijupadapita, 14th chapter, the 4th verse. And he says, it should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So not only human beings come from Krishna, all living beings, animals, reptiles, so therefore longer see the bodily identification. You don't just give to anybody. And those qualified people are Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And what do they do with it? They have a vow of poverty. So they do not keep it. They also follow the same principle. You just take whatever is your minimum needs. And the Brahmanas' minimum needs are very minimal. And anything above genuinely needy and who is greedy. They know the difference between the two. So therefore, they give to the needy and help them. In fact, in the Krishna says, abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. So these are the qualities of a devotee. A devotee is yasya sarve samaramba kama sankalpa varjita janagni gardhakarmanam tamahu pandita budhe. One is understood to be in full knowledge whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification.